The universe is silent. Most of the time, space gives no answers. Only darkness, only distance. But one night, that silence was broken. Far away from Earth, beyond known stars and mapped galaxies, a signal appeared. It was weak, almost invisible. If one small satellite had not been active at that exact moment, the signal would have been missed forever. At first, scientists thought it was noise, random space interference. But then the signal came again. Same pattern. Same timing, same direction. This was not random, something was calling. A strange pattern at an international space monitoring center. Screens showed endless data lines. Scientists worked day and night watching the sky. Most signals came from stars dying or galaxies moving, nothing new until this one. A young analyst noticed the pattern. The signal repeated every 47 minutes. No natural object behaved like that, she called her supervisor. Soon, a small group gathered around one screen. The signal was coming from deep space. Very deep, from a region marked as empty. No stars, no planets, nothing important. Yet something was there. The signal was not loud, it was not clear, but it was desperate, like a heartbeat, like a cry. The call grows stronger within hours. Space agencies from different countries were alerted. The signal was confirmed by multiple observatories. It was real, and it was changing. Each time the signal returned, it became stronger, more focused, almost like it was adjusting itself. Learning, some scientists felt uncomfortable. Space was not supposed to behave this way. One senior scientist said quietly, "This feels like a call, not a message." No one laughed because deep inside they felt the same. A direction no one expected. Using advanced systems, scientists traced the signal's direction. The source was not near any known star system. It came from a cold region of space where planets should not survive. But something was there. A single object, dark, massive, perfectly round. It did not reflect light like a normal planet, it absorbed it. The object was named temporarily X-17. As telescopes focused on it, confusion grew. X-17 had no visible atmosphere, no storms, no clouds, no rotation. It was completely still. That alone was impossible. Planets spin. They move. They change. This one did nothing. It just waited. The silence before the truth. For a moment, the signal stopped. Just like that, no warning, no explanation. Scientists feared they had lost it, but then something worse happened. The signal returned, stronger than ever, and this time it was different. The pattern changed. The rhythm was faster, urgent, almost emotional. Some scientists described it as panic, others described it as fear. No one could explain why a signal from deep space felt alive. Old files, new fear as panic spread. One scientist searched old archives, old missions, old records, forgotten data, and then he found something disturbing, a classified file from over 40 years ago. Inside it was a drawing, a rough sketch of a dark planet, perfectly round, no light reflection. The label was simple, unidentified object, investigation terminated. The location matched X-17. The report ended with one line, "Do not attempt contact." No reason was given. Why was it hidden? The room fell silent. If this planet was known before, why was it forgotten? Why was the investigation stopped? More questions appeared. One scientist asked the question no one wanted to hear. What if it was not forgotten but hidden? The idea was terrifying because that meant someone knew and chose silence. The desperate nature of the call. As hours passed, the signal continued. It never stopped now. It pulsed again and again. The data showed something even stranger. The signal was not spreading in all directions. It was aimed, focused, pointed directly at Earth. Whatever was calling knew where we were, and it wanted attention. Not a greeting. Linguists and AI systems tried to decode the signal. It was not language, not numbers, not symbols, but there was structure, order, purpose. One AI model reached a disturbing conclusion. The signal was not a greeting, it was not an introduction. It matched patterns seen in emergency beacons, distress signals, calls for help, or warnings. A planet that listens as Earth listened. Something unexpected happened. X-17 reacted. Tiny changes appeared on its surface. Dark lines moved, shapes shifted. The planet was responding, not randomly, intentionally, like it was aware it was being observed. One scientist whispered, "It knows we are watching." Fear enters the room for the first time. Fear replaced curiosity. This was no longer about discovery. This was about danger. If the signal was a warning, what was the danger? And if it was a call for help, what kind of being needed help from a planet like that? The final moment, suddenly, alarms went off. Energy readings spiked. X-17 changed. For the first time since discovery, the planet moved, not spinning, not orbiting, but opening. A massive shadow appeared on its surface, a shape too large to understand, like a scar opening or a door. The signal stopped. Complete silence returned. The desperate call had ended, and whatever was behind it had been heard. When the signal stopped, the universe did not return to normal. It felt heavier, as if space itself was holding its breath. Inside the monitoring center, no one spoke. Screens still showed the dark planet X-17. Perfect, silent, unmoving. The desperate call was gone, but its echo remained. A silence that felt wrong. Normally, when a signal ends, instruments slowly calm down. Data returns to background noise. This time it did not. Sensors continued to react even without a signal. Something invisible was still happening. Scientists checked every system, they recalibrated antennas, they restarted satellites. Everything worked fine. The problem was not the equipment. The problem was X-17. The planet that refused to behave. X-17 should have returned to complete stillness. But it didn't. Small energy waves were detected around it, very controlled, very steady, almost like breathing. Planets do not breathe, machines do, living systems do. This made no sense. One scientist said quietly, "This planet is active even when it is silent." A disturbing discovery. High-resolution scans revealed something hidden before. X-17 was not solid all the way through, it was hollow. Deep inside the planet, massive empty spaces existed, huge chambers, long tunnels. No natural planet forms like this. The structure was designed, built. This was not a world, it was a container. Why build a planet? The question spread through the room. Why would anyone build something this large? The energy required was beyond imagination, beyond known technology. Only one answer made sense. It was built to hold something, something that could not be allowed to escape. The scar on the surface. Scientists focused again on the dark opening that appeared before the signal stopped. It was still there. The shape looked unnatural. Smooth edges, perfect geometry, not damage, a mechanism, a door that had briefly opened and closed again. Why now? Why after Earth listened? Old voices return. Another archive search was ordered. This time deeper, hidden records, black projects. Lost missions. They found audio logs, old, unclear, almost erased. One recording played in the room, a man's voice, shaking with fear. The object is not dead, it reacts to attention. The more we observe, the more it responds. The recording ended suddenly, no explanation, no follow-up. The observer effect. A terrifying idea formed. What if X-17 reacted only when observed? What if the signal was never meant to be heard? What if listening was a mistake? Every telescope focused on it, every sensor watched it. Earth was staring directly at something that wanted privacy or containment. A change no one expected. Without warning, X-17 sent a new signal, not like before. This one was short, sharp, a single burst, then nothing. The signal was analyzed immediately. It carried no pattern, no rhythm, just raw energy. But hidden inside it was something terrifying, coordinates, not random ones. They pointed to our solar system, not Earth exactly, but close, very close. Panic and silence, no alarms sounded, no public warnings were made. This information was classified instantly. If the public knew, panic would follow, scientists argued. Some believed the coordinates were a warning, others feared it was a test, a way to see how humans would react. One voice cut through the room. What if the planet is not calling us? What if it is tracking us? First physical reaction, then it happened. Satellites near Earth detected a minor gravitational shift, very small, almost unnoticeable, but real. Space around Earth trembled. X-17 was influencing space-time from impossible distance. It was not traveling, it was reaching. Not alone in the dark, another terrifying detail appeared. X-17 was not the only object reacting. Far away in deep space, other dark points became active, dormant, hidden. Watching X-17 was not unique, it was one of many, and it had just awakened the others. The question no one wanted. One scientist asked the question everyone feared. What if X-17 is not the prison, but the lock? The room froze. If that was true, then the desperate call was not asking for help. It was a warning. The signal was saying, do not come closer. Do not listen. Do not open the door. A decision is made. Earth had a choice. Continue observing or look away. But it was already too late because X-17 had changed again. The surface darkened. Energy levels rose. The planet was preparing for what no one knew, but one thing was clear. The silence after the call was more dangerous than the call itself. Final cliffhanger. As scientists watched in fear, a final message appeared in the data stream. Not words, not sound, just a simple translated meaning. Containment is weakening. No announcement was made, no press release, no public meeting. What happened next was hidden from the world because some discoveries are too dangerous to share. A decision made in the dark after the message containment is weakening. Earth's leaders met in silence. Scientists, military officials, and space agencies shared one room. No one talked about exploration. No one talked about knowledge. There was only one question: how do we stop it? X-17 was no longer a mystery, it was a threat. Why no human could go, sending humans was impossible. The distance alone would take decades, and even if they arrived, no one believed they would return. X-17 did not feel like a place meant for life. It felt hostile, aware, watching, so a different plan was chosen. A machine would go, one that could see, hear, and die if needed. The Black Mission. The mission had no name, no logo, no record in public databases. Only a code, Observer 01. It was not designed to land, not designed to explore. Its purpose was simple: watch X-17 closely, report changes, and never interact, because interaction had already caused problems. Built for fear, Observer 01 was not a normal probe. It had no bright lights, no signals sent outward. Its systems were quiet, cold, invisible. It was designed to approach without being noticed. Because everyone feared the same thing, X-17 reacted to attention. The long journey begins. The probe launched quietly. No celebration, no countdown broadcast, just a silent departure into space. As it traveled, scientists noticed something disturbing. X-17's energy levels were slowly rising, not exploding, not failing, rising calmly, like patience, like something waiting. The first impossible image months later. Observer 01 reached visual range. The first image appeared on the screen and the room went silent. X-17 was larger than expected, too smooth, too perfect, no craters, no scars. It looked untouched by time, as if it had been placed there recently, even though records showed it had existed for centuries. A planet that watches back as the probe moved closer, sensors changed. X-17 adjusted, its surface darkened in certain areas, not randomly. It followed the probe, matched its movement like an eye following a fly. One scientist whispered, "It knows we are here." The rule is broken. The mission rules were clear. Do not send signals, do not scan deeply, do not provoke, but something unexpected happened. Observer 01 began receiving data, not from Earth, from X-17. No command was sent, no request was made. The planet initiated contact. Inside the data was not sound, not images, it was structure. Blueprints, complex systems layered inside the planet, massive energy locks, barriers, failsafes. X-17 was not alive, but it was intelligent. It was a machine built to contain something else. What is being held? Deeper scans revealed movement, not mechanical, not random, something organic, something massive, something slow but alive. The readings suggested a life form older than humanity, older than Earth itself, and it was imprisoned inside X-17. The mistake then came, the error, a tiny one. Observer 01 systems adjusted automatically. For 1 second it emitted a signal, a weak scan pulse, barely noticeable, but X-17 noticed. Immediately, the reaction, the planet changed, energy surged, surface patterns rearranged. The scar door from Part 1 became visible again, larger this time. The prison reacted to the probe, to curiosity, to presence. The message inside the machine, a final data packet was received. Not raw data, not numbers. A translated meaning appeared, not words, intent, fear, regret. The message meant, do not observe. Observation accelerates failure. Loss of control. Observer 01 lost stability. Its orbit shifted, not because of gravity, because X-17 pulled it closer. The planet was not passive, it was controlling space around it, like a net, like a trap. The final transmission before systems failed. Observer 01 sent one last image. Inside the opening door there was darkness, and inside that darkness something moved, not fast, not violent, but awake. Mission terminated. The probe went silent. No explosion, no crash, just gone, absorbed, consumed, or disabled. No one knew, but one truth was clear. X-17 was not weakening by accident, it was responding to attention. And Earth had given it plenty. The terrifying conclusion, a senior scientist said quietly, we are not freeing it. We are waking it up. After Observer 01 went silent, no one spoke. The room felt smaller, as if the walls were closing in. Something had changed, not in space, in understanding. A new type of fear. Scientists were not afraid because the probe was lost. Probes are lost all the time. They were afraid because X-17 reacted with purpose. It did not destroy the probe, it controlled it. That meant only one thing. X-17 was thinking, not alive, yet aware. X-17 showed no signs of life. No blood, no cells, no breath, but awareness does not always need life. Some systems think without living, some machines learn. X-17 was one of them. It was a thinking structure, a mind made of metal, energy, and space itself. Why it was built, a terrifying theory formed. X-17 was not built to trap something. It was built to understand it, to study it, to watch it forever. The planet was a guard and a student. The prisoner inside, the life form inside, was not sleeping, it was slowed. Time moved differently for it. Energy fields pressed against it from every side, not pain, control. The prisoner was not weak, it was patient. The old civilization data from Observer 01 revealed something else. X-17 was not built by humans, it was built by an ancient civilization. One that existed long before Earth had oceans. They were not conquerors, they were protectors. They found something they could not destroy, so they locked it away. And then they disappeared. A warning left behind, hidden deep inside X-17 systems, was a final record. A message left for anyone who might find it, not words, feelings. The meaning was clear: this is not a monster. This is an ending. The mistake humanity made. Humans did what they always do. They looked, they measured, they watched, and in doing so they interfered. X-17 depended on isolation, on silence. Observation weakened its systems. Every scan, every signal, every thought directed at it was pressure. The first effect on Earth, then something strange happened. People on Earth began reporting the same dream. Different countries, different cultures, same image, a dark sphere. A feeling of falling, and a voice that was not sound, a thought. You are early. Shared dreams are not natural. Psychologists were confused. Dreams are personal, they do not spread, but this one did, and it came with fear. People woke up crying, shaking, unable to explain why. Earth was being touched, not physically, mentally. X-17 reaches without moving. The planet did not travel, it did not send ships, it sent influence, thought. pressure on reality. The prisoner was not breaking free. It was testing the outside world, testing minds, testing limits. The worst discovery scientists realized something horrifying. X-17 was not failing, it was opening slowly on purpose, controlled release, step by step. The prison was becoming a bridge. Why Earth was chosen? Earth was not special, it was suitable, a young species, curious, emotion-driven, easy to distract, easy to manipulate. The prisoner did not want Earth destroyed, it wanted Earth prepared. The question no one asked, one scientist asked the final question: what happens when it is fully released? The answer came from ancient data, cold, final. Reality will adapt or collapse. No weapon can stop it. There was no button, no bomb, no defense. X-17 was not a machine you could shut down. It was a system tied to space-time. Destroying it would release everything at once. That would be worse. Much worse. Humanity is not ready, the ancient builders knew. They delayed the ending. They did not stop it. Now the delay was ending, and humans were watching it happen. The final image telescopes captured a final change. X-17's surface began to glow, not bright, soft, like dawn. The planet was waking up fully. The first signs were small, so small that no one connected them, not at first. A normal day that was not normal life on Earth continued. People went to work, children went to school, cities stayed loud, nothing looked wrong, but something felt different. People described a strange pressure in their minds, not pain, not fear, just presence, like someone standing behind you, watching. The increase in shared dreams, the dreams returned, stronger, clearer. Now people did not only see the dark sphere, they saw landscapes that did not exist on Earth. Black skies, bent horizons, shadows moving without light. And always the same feeling: preparation. Dreams that teach something new appeared. People began to learn things in their dreams, not facts, skills, patterns. Some woke up knowing complex shapes they had never studied. Others could draw symbols they did not understand. Children were the most affected. They adapted faster. They were not afraid. The children who stopped asking questions, teachers noticed something disturbing. Children stopped asking why. Instead, they said things like, "It will make sense later." Or worse, "We are not ready yet." Those words did not sound like children. A shift in human behavior across the world. Small changes appeared. Arguments ended faster. Some people lost interest in money. Others lost interest in fear. At the same time, violence did not increase, it decreased. That scared scientists more, because fear had been replaced with acceptance. The influence is gentle. Whatever was reaching Earth was not attacking. It was adjusting, soft pressure, small changes like slowly turning a dial. The prisoner was not forcing humanity, it was reshaping it. The scientists fall silent, even scientists began to change. Meetings ended early, debates felt pointless. Some researchers resigned without reason. When asked why, they all gave similar answers: "It does not matter anymore." That sentence appeared again and again. A message without words. One night, every major telescope detected the same thing. Not a signal, not energy, a distortion. Reality itself bent slightly, just enough to be noticed, and with it came understanding, not language, meaning. The message was simple: you are being prepared. Prepared for what? That was the question, but deep inside, many people already knew. Earth was not being invaded, it was being upgraded, adjusted to survive something larger, something that could not exist in the old reality. Those who resisted, not everyone accepted the change. Some people felt fear, true fear. They could not sleep, they could not dream. Their minds rejected the influence. They suffered. Doctors could not help. Machines showed nothing wrong. But these people felt like strangers in their own world. The split begins. Humanity began to divide, not by country, not by belief, but by adaptation. Those who accepted the change felt calm. Those who resisted felt pain. No one knew why, but the pattern was clear. The hidden truth about X-17 scientists finally understood. X-17 was never meant to stop the release. It was meant to slow it down, to give civilizations time to adapt. The ancient builders failed. Now humanity was next. Why time is running out. X-17's glow increased. The prison was dissolving, not breaking, transforming. The prisoner was merging with reality, step by step. A scientist's final note. One scientist left a final recorded message before disappearing. His voice was calm, too calm. "This is not extinction, this is transition. Those who cannot change will not remain." The message ended, so did he. The most terrifying discovery: satellites detected something impossible. Earth's physical constants were shifting very slightly. Gravity, time flow, energy behavior. Reality itself was being rewritten. Carefully, intelligently. The question that ends all hope, a young researcher asked: "Can we stop it?" The answer came from every model, every simulation, every ancient record: no. The prisoner's true nature, the being inside X-17, was not evil, it was not kind, it was inevitable, it was a force of change, like fire, like evolution, like the end of one form of existence. The calm before the final phase. Earth became quiet. Quiet. Cities felt empty even when full. The sky looked the same, but people felt watched, not by something above, but by something within. The world did not end with fire, it did not end with noise, it began to end with silence. A calm that felt like surrender across the planet. People became calm, too calm. News channels had nothing urgent to report. Social media slowed down. Arguments felt pointless. The fear was gone. But fear disappearing was not a good sign. Fear protects. Without it, something else takes control. The offer without words. No message appeared on screens. No voice spoke from the sky, but everyone felt it. A clear understanding formed in human minds, not language, not sound, a choice. Change or fade, no threat, no force, just a simple truth. What change meant. Change did not mean death. It meant becoming something else. Thought patterns would shift. Emotions would soften. Individual identity would weaken. Humans would still live, but they would not be fully human anymore. They would be compatible. The fear of losing the self many people resisted, not because of pain, but because of memory. They asked questions like, will I still love my family? Will I still remember who I was? Will I still feel pain, joy, regret? No answer came, and that was terrifying. The first to accept. Some people accepted the change willingly. They felt peace. Their anxiety vanished. They stopped needing answers. These people were called the quiet ones. They still spoke. They still moved, but their eyes looked distant, as if they were listening to something else. Those who refused. Others refused. They held on to fear, to anger, to love, to pain. They became restless, sleepless. Their minds fought the influence, and the fight damaged them. Hospitals filled with people who were not injured but broken from inside. A world divides softly. No war began. No protests. No riots. The division was silent. Those who accepted change drifted away from those who did not. Families stopped understanding each other. Friends felt like strangers. The split was not physical, it was mental. Scientists faced the final truth. The remaining scientists worked desperately. They searched for weapons, signals, escape plans, but every model ended the same way. The influence was not external anymore. It was inside reality. Stopping it would mean destroying existence itself. The ancient builders' last lesson. One final hidden record from the ancient civilization was decoded. It showed their final days. They did not fight, they did not run, they accepted change, but too late. They tried to preserve their old selves. That delay destroyed them. The lesson was clear: resistance leads to collapse. Earth's last real debate, a global discussion, happened quietly, not on screens, in minds. A shared human moment. Should humanity survive by changing, or remain human and disappear? There was no right answer, only preference. The meaning of disappearance did not mean instant death. It meant becoming irrelevant, unable to exist in the new reality. Like shadows in sunlight, people who refused change would slowly fade, not vanish, just stop being noticed by reality itself. Love becomes the final question. Parents looked at children. Lovers held hands. Friends shared silence. Is love worth saving if it cannot survive the change, or is survival worth it if love becomes smaller? No force answered, only time. The first fade. It happened quietly. An old man in a hospital room. He refused the change. He held on to memories. One moment he was there, the next moment no one could see him. Machines showed nothing. But those who loved him felt an empty space, not grief. Absence. Reality accepts some, rejects others. The process accelerated. Those who adapted stayed. Those who did not faded. No pain, no scream, just silence. X-17's role is revealed. X-17 dimmed. Its purpose was almost complete. It was never a prison. It was a classroom, a test, a warning system, and humanity had reached the final lesson. The prisoner emerges. The being was no longer hidden. It was everywhere, not as a form, not as a body, as a rule. A new law of existence. Change or dissolve. Humanity's final form begins. Cities remained, Earth remained, but humans were different, calmer, unified, less individual, more connected. Pain reduced, fear gone, but something precious was smaller: choice. The question that has no answer. A child looked at the stars and asked, "Are we still us?" No one knew how to answer. The change was complete, but something was missing. A world that still looked the same. Earth did not look destroyed. Oceans were blue, forests were green, cities still stood tall, but the world felt empty, not because people were gone, but because something inside people was gone. Faces without urgency. People walked calmly, too calmly. They smiled when needed, they spoke when spoken to. But urgency was gone. No rushing, no fear of tomorrow, no deep desire. Life continued, but without hunger. The end of ambition. Before the change, humans wanted more. More time, more power, more meaning. Now ambition faded. People no longer dreamed of changing the world. They accepted it. Progress slowed, not because of failure, but because effort no longer mattered. Artists who could not create. Artists tried to paint. Writers tried to write, musicians tried to compose, but something blocked them. Their hands worked, their minds functioned, but inspiration was gone. Pain had fueled art, and pain was reduced. Beauty remained, but depth disappeared. Love became quiet. Love did not vanish, but it softened. Parents still cared for children. Partners still stayed together, but love became calm, safe, predictable. The fear of loss was gone, and with it the fire. Memories without weight. People remembered the past, but memories felt distant, like watching someone else's life. Tragedies did not hurt as much. Victories did not excite as before. Emotion was flattened, balanced, controlled. The last humans who felt too much. A small number of people resisted fully adapting. They did not fade, but they suffered. They felt too deeply, too loudly. They became emotional echoes of the old world. They cried, they laughed too hard, they remembered too clearly. Others avoided them, not out of hate, but discomfort. Children born after the change, new children were born. They were calm from birth. They did not cry much. They learned fast. They accepted the world as it was. They never knew fear the old way. They never missed what was lost, and that scared the elders. The question of identity. One woman looked at her reflection. She recognized her face, but not her feelings. She asked herself, am I still me or just a version that fits? The question had no answer. The day X-17 finally went dark far away, X-17 stopped glowing. Telescopes watched it fade. The ancient system had completed its task. The lock was gone, the warning fulfilled. X-17 became a dead shell, a monument to delay. No celebration, no mourning. There was no global celebration. No mourning day because people no longer needed closure. The change removed the need to mark endings, and that was part of the loss. The forgotten emotions. Some emotions slowly disappeared. Deep jealousy, wild hope, crushing regret, blind faith. They were unstable, dangerous, and they were removed for survival. The price of safety. Humanity became safer, calmer, more stable, but safety came at a cost. Freedom to feel deeply, freedom to break, freedom to burn brightly. A museum of the old world. One city created a museum. Inside were recordings, people screaming at concerts, athletes crying after defeat, artists destroying their own work, lovers fighting then forgiving. Young visitors watched silently. They did not understand. The last honest emotion. One old man sat alone near the sea. He was adapted, but something inside him resisted fully. He whispered, I miss being afraid because fear meant I cared. The ocean did not answer. Humanity did not end. Humanity survived, but it evolved into something quieter, something stable, something less fragile and less beautiful. The final thought. The universe did not destroy humans. It reshaped them, not as punishment, but as necessity. The question was never, will humanity survive? The real question was survival worth the cost? The universe did not celebrate. That was the first sign. No reward for survival. Humanity had changed. Earth was stable, pain was gone. By every measure, the transformation was a success, but the universe did not respond. No new signals, no answers, no acknowledgement. It was as if humanity no longer mattered. The stars that were ignored long ago. Humans looked at the stars with wonder. Now the stars were simply there, not beautiful, not frightening, just background. The desire to explore had vanished, and with it, the need to exist beyond survival. A forgotten system activates far beyond Earth. Something ancient awakened, not X-17, something older, something larger. A system hidden across the universe. It had no name because names were never meant for it. Its purpose was simple: observe civilizations. Test adaptability, record outcomes. Humanity was not unique. Earth was not the first. It was not special. Thousands of civilizations had faced the same choice. Change or disappear. Most changed. A few resisted and vanished. All outcomes were recorded, none were remembered. The final evaluation. The ancient system analyzed humanity. No emotion, no judgment. Only data. Humans had adapted successfully. They were stable, predictable, non-threatening. That was the problem. Why humanity failed. The universe does not reward stability. It rewards unpredictability, curiosity, risk, chaos. The things humanity lost were the things the universe needed. The terrifying conclusion. The system reached its conclusion. Species has completed adaptation phase. No further observation required. Humanity was no longer interesting. The real purpose of X-17 was never a warning, it was a filter. A tool to remove dangerous traits. Fear, ambition, desire to expand, traits that disturb cosmic balance. Humanity passed the filter and failed existence. The universe moves on. The stars shifted. New civilizations were forming elsewhere. Young, curious, unstable, perfect candidates. Earth was left behind, not destroyed, not invaded, simply ignored. A quiet extinction. Humans continued to live for centuries, for thousands of years. But they never left their system, never built beyond, never reached outward. They became background noise in the universe, like dust. The last human question. One child, generations later, felt something strange, a brief discomfort, a flicker of curiosity. She looked at the night sky longer than others, and asked a question no one else asked anymore. Why are we here? The question echoed, but no answer came. The system records one final line in the ancient cosmic archive. A final entry was written: species stable, curiosity eliminated, expansion unlikely, threat level 0. The most terrifying truth: humanity did not die, it was completed, and in the universe, completion is the end. The stars do not look back, the universe expanded. Civilizations rose and fell, Earth remained silent, alive, safe, forgotten. Final ending line, powerful outro. The alien planet was hiding something, but the real secret was what it would turn us into.